Hi guys, Jen with Astro T. Today we are talking about the new moon in Pisces, and this new moon is about getting ready to transcend. And so this is coming on February 27th at 9 degrees 40 minutes of Pisces. So now this is our fifth of six new moons at that 9 degree mark. And the sixth being exactly at 9 degrees in Aries. So exactly at that 9 degrees, that is our first lunation in eclipse season, and in Aries, that is that initiative sign, pretty much the most initiative sign that there is, because it's starting the whole wheel off. So this one is just getting ready to transcend into that, and all these nines have been in preparation for that one coming up, I think. This one's going to be a little bit tamer, of course, than the eclipse. So this number 9 in numerology is about completion of sorts, and it's at the beginning of a spiritual enlightenment, ending a major phase in one's life and starting another. So it's just like a new moon. So we're ending a phase, starting a new phase. So that whole thing of endings and new beginnings with this new moon is just, and all of these new moons at the 9 degrees are all this getting ready, this preparation for the big one coming up during eclipse season. So getting ready for that just spiritual enlightenment to just know what you're doing, what your dreams, what is going to fulfill you, and how to prepare for it. So um, in the last few months, we've been closing in on spring, new life, new beginnings, all of those we're building up to this point. New spring, new beginnings, and that is just all about getting into the new season. And these, after the new moons at 9 degrees, is again getting us prepared uh, for this new spring season coming up, from the mundane to the abstract of Pisces. So we're getting away from those everyday routines and getting a little bit more into our heads, getting more into the spiritual aspect of it to really know what we want. And we need during this time to really trust our intuition and our instincts to know where do we want to really dig our heels in, and what's okay to leave behind, and where are we like, no, this is not going anywhere, and this is what I'm going to do, and that's where we're going to dig our heel in, because we don't really want to get pulled back um, to a place that's not working for us anymore. We want to keep moving forward, and not get pulled back. So you could be slowly already making these transitions in your life. So if you kind of think about how things have been going for the last 5 months, about 4.5 months more, with all these nines, it's getting that preparation. Okay, so where do I want to go from here? You might be emerging with some kind of a new passion, a new lust for life, looking at something that the future might hold for you, that is somewhere that you might want to go. We are just getting past that midway point, from the solstice to the equinox, when the equinox is when we celebrate Ostara. And we just celebrated that midway point of Imbolc. So we are more than halfway there, more than halfway to spring. So time for things and life around us to be emerging with this new fledgling life, things starting to push through the grounds, just everything coming back to life after the winter. Now, this new moon is a very water filled new moon, with Pisces just jam packed. Ceres starts off like right at the beginning degrees, and then we have the sun and the moon, of course, conjunct Saturn, Mercury, the North Node, and then capping it off with Neptune at those last degrees. And Mars, of course, adding into that wateriness because it's still in the sign of Cancer. So water is about reflection. Reflection, and what do you think about when you think about reflection? Is just looking at yourself maybe in a different way. Especially when you look at yourself in water. If you're like sitting by a pond and you look down at your reflection of the water, it is going to be, it's like looking introspectively. So how do you appear to yourself? Do you appear distorted? And that really depends on, how calm or how rough the water is around you, and that is your emotions. So introspectively, it's your emotions that could be causing that turmoil, that is causing you to see yourself in maybe a distorted way, and maybe just not quite the way you want to see yourself. So the water also, being that it's reflecting back on our memories, remembering and reminiscing about the past. And a lot of thinking about, how did I get here? So when we were young, we all had dreams, and we all, I mean, some of them were a little bit crazy, like I want to grow up and be, an astronaut. And maybe some of us do grow up to be an astronaut, but maybe we got kind of stuck in a trap where we're not where we wanted to be in life. And it is something that, okay, where did we kind of lose our grip? Where did we kind of like lose our traction? And just it all kind of got lost, and we forgot about what we really wanted to do. Or was it about being settled? Maybe being, okay, this is good enough, I'm going to stay here. Maybe you were afraid of maybe doing what you really wanted to do, or being with who you really wanted to be with, or something to that effect. Maybe like, oh, well, if I am in this job, I feel like I'm secure, even though I want to, say, be a professional astrologer doing podcasts. Okay, so maybe I won't make the money out of that. So how will I afford my house? How will I afford to feed myself? How will I afford just life in general? So these are the fears that we've had to contend with as you get older, where you might have put those dreams behind. So you want to reflect on that, and maybe, you know, get out of that settle, mindset, because this is the year of change for all of us. So it's kind of like, looking into yourself again, introspective, to know where in our lives we need to grow, to transcend to what we're destined to be, to fulfill our karma. So we have the North Node right in there, right with Saturn, and it's pretty much conjunct still to Neptune right in the middle. And we also have Mercury in there. So what is it that we can do? We have to get our minds right with Saturn, and just to really to gain that North Node, to get what we want, no matter what that North Node looks like in our chart, because this is just, that mundane North Node that is just showing that, our future is at hand and our destiny is at hand. So look to your own charts to find out what that destiny might mean for you, and use this new moon to try and build to get there and get those ideas going. Really open your mind up and say, like, how can I do this? Show me a way. And, or just use your vocalizations just to give you that oomph every morning, and just tell yourself, I can do this, and this is what I want, and I will get what I want, or however affirmations you want to, just to give you that positivity to just continue marching on. Pisces also can enable us to adapt to this ever changing world. I know a lot of us are nervous about changes that we're seeing around us in our own country and in just the world in general. Um, but Pisces allows us to adapt to that, and just like, okay, how are we going to go forward? How are we going to move forward? How are we going to continue to help each other and get along with each other? Because Pisces is that kind of humanitarian, that embracing of all different kinds of people, bringing them together, and just kind of like going with the flow again, just being okay with whatever. This is that mutable plus a water sign. It's just being, compassionate to others. So you don't want to dream your life away, because you do have the tendency of, okay, that's a pipe dream, but some of these dreams, they can be realities. So you want to get back to really what matters. Now this Pisces new moon is, of course. No Pisces new moon is about materialism. That would be more like a Taurus moon that is about those material things and having those things. This is about what will keep our inner fire burning. But you have to be open. You have to be just really thinking like, what are my deep, dark desires? So let's talk about what else is going on and what we have to work with. And it is really going to point to what is going to keep our inner fires burning. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, respectively. So that is boundless and limitless. So just like Pisces, just like that water, there's no bounds. It can go and splash outside of its banks and just, it's water, it's mutable, it can change, it can go into any form. You pour it into any form and it will be in that form. It's not going to be like rigid. It just doesn't fit. It's going to fit eventually. But it also has the duality, kind of like a Gemini, where we see ourselves, we could be going into separate directions. So again, we see ourselves in one way, okay, like the example I gave earlier. Okay, so, I'm in this job and it's a good enough job, but it's not really doing what I want to do. So it's like, the Pisces glyph, which is the two fish just tethered together, and they're struggling to find out what is the right direction. One's going one way, one's going the other way. How do we get these to go the same way and not struggle against each other, not pull against each other, to go with what really means the most to us? And again, at that ninth degree, the ninth degree is represented by Mars. So that's that kind of let's go, let's do this attitude. And it's also ruled by Sagittarius. We think ninth house, Sagittarius is a natural ruler. So that is that open-mindedness. The ninth degree can help you to just feel and know what is the right direction that you want to go in, and then just get going. It's that selflessness too with Pisces, that even perhaps the leap that you're going to take is going to be for somebody else. So maybe it is doing something that you were nervous about because of somebody else. So especially with something that's ruled by Sagittarius, say it's somebody from a different country and you're just like, you know what, I'm happy in this country, but I really love this person. So how do I navigate that? And maybe this is a time where you're just like, you know what, I'm going there. I'm just going to move there and we're just going to see what happens. So, it sometimes is about that selflessness, that it could be taking a leap for somebody else that's going to benefit us in the long run. So we have also Vesta making a grand trine with Mars and Saturn. That's morality. That's focusing on, again, what is important, because Vesta is about our home, our family. It's our hearth fire. It's our eternal fire. It's that fire that burns within us and within our home, representing that heart of our home, and that heart that we have in us. And what will keep that internal flame just burning? We have Mars as the igniter, we have Saturn as the workhorse. And so with Vesta having that grand trine with those, it's really going to be just really, again, getting back to what is important to us and what is going to keep our inner fire burning, so we're not just going to be complacent, so we don't lose that drive. So now we need to really fight to have that drive, the determination and the ambition with Mars, and then with a solid and practical foundation that will give us what we deserve if we put the work in, and that is the Saturn, that's the trine. So what is fueling that hearth fire within you? How are we going to put it into practice? So remember, Saturn can put up roadblocks. So that could be something that you're putting up in your own head that's just like, I can't do this, I can't do this. But keep that drive and just keep a steady head, because we really need to imagine the life you want and picture, this is the life I'm going to have. And if you picture that, you can almost mentally create it within yourself, because you are just like putting yourself there and manifesting it in the long run, because that could be what you truly want. So how again can you transcend the mundaneness of everyday life? And that is that sun and moon in Pisces that really just gets us to just transcend, to use a different point of our brains, to just use that intuition to just know. Of course, Pisces is opposite Virgo. And that is our work and routines, our anxieties and our stresses. And that is pretty much the mundane of everyday life, where Pisces is the complete opposite of that. And that's where that polarity comes in. So, how do we want to rise above and evolve from this mundaneness? What we might be feeling like complacent about, again, something that we're just, do the same thing every day. There was this movie back in the 80s called Joe versus the Volcano. And every day he would just go to work and he would do the same thing every day. And the, fluorescent lights would flicker. And these are things that I've been through. I just left the job I was in for 17 years. And I said, I just need a change. And it would be that I would go into work every day. I'd do the exact same motions every day, set things up, go make my tea, walk back to my office, do this and that, be the same every day for pretty much 17 years. So sometimes you just need that change, because you're like, I can't do this anymore. And how am I going to transcend and rise above this to really focus and picture the life that I want to have? Because I know deep down inside the life that I really want. And every day lately, I've really been putting myself in that place. And a lot's changed for me in probably about the past like 6 months, since I went away on vacation about back in September. And I'm pretty much like, I have this focus, I have this drive, I know what I want out of my life. And it's just pretty much figuring out how I'm going to go about getting it. So what is the key to your happiness? Pretty much, how will you feel safe and secure, but not complacent? Because you still want to have that safety, you still want to be calm, but you can be a little uneasy. You can have a little anxiety. You can have that upheaval. It's not going to kill you. You just have to just struggle a little bit through it. It might be a little bit of a struggle, but this is a starting point, to just kind of move forward. So your reality could become what your fantasies were. But you must let it, you must embrace how to move forward and that ambition to be what you're in, what you feel you are destined to be. And definitely look at your charts, of course, because um, nothing is just going to happen, nothing's going to be handed to you. But you have to be practical. You have to look at what's being offered to you, and that's what you have to go, oh, I just want to win $1 million. Okay, maybe you're not going to win $1 million, but how can you put the work in to still get a life like you won $1 million, but without having that money, just to make yourself happy? Of course, that doesn't always make everyone happy. So I know it's hard. I have a Taurus moon myself, and rocking that boat when you have a fixed sign in there can be really difficult. Any fixed signs will have trouble getting out of their comfort zones. Kind of like you're just laying in bed and you're just snug and you're warm, and then someone just rips the blankets off. And that's how it can feel to a fixed sign. It's like, there's no way I'm doing this. It's just too much, too fast, too soon. Not like that Aries kind of, initiating mentality. Is just like, I don't care, I'm doing this. Uranus is in Taurus, and that caps off our grand trine that we have, with a sextile to Mars and another sextile to Mercury and Saturn, which are pretty much closing in on a conjunction. So this could really show a sudden change in finances. So maybe you will win that $1 million. Who knows? But this can cause us to have the ability to maybe break free a little bit, to maybe loosen those restrictions that we have on that from everyday life, so that we can maybe start to move forward. So, really look into where that all falls in your chart, where this grand would be a kite then. Collectively, on a grander scale, the changes, of course, with Uranus and Taurus could be in foods, in allergies that people have. Sudden realizations come to light that, maybe things weren't healthy for us. And, especially now that we have RFK Jr. in that role as the, I'm not sure what it is, the Department of Health head or something. Maybe we can begin that journey to a more healthy society, so we're not so dependent on drugs and things that, because back in the day, there's so many more allergies that there are from when I was young, peanut allergies and, all this stuff that we never had when we were young, that I think a lot of times is because of the way that food's made. So hopefully on a collective scale, that will make a difference there, and it will start having some realizations like this is bad for you. And it already has been found with that red dye that I think I heard is already getting pulled out of stuff. If it's not natural, it's most likely not good for you. If it's created in a lab, it's most likely not good for you. And speaking of Taurus, about a year ago, I was hearing a lot about meat that was being grown in a lab. That's no. And that's just wrong on so many levels. If you want to not eat meat, then don't eat meat, but having it grown in a lab just seems really strange. And also the meat that's not really meat, but they make it taste like meat. How does it taste like meat? Still weird. So, if you want to be a vegetarian, more power to you, go ahead, but you still have to watch what you're putting in your body, and all these extra things that they're adding. I think we're going to find out is really not that good for us in the long run. Now, on a more personal level, you may be more impulsive. Your passions are at a peak because, we have that Uranus with the sextile to Mars. It wants to get going. It doesn't want to just sit around. But of course, that Saturn is going to help out because he finds order in the chaos. Maybe the chaos is happiness, though, over a sudden or surprising commitment, because these are sextiles. I mean, that is kind of a big thing for a sextile. Usually it's a little more subtle. We also have, if it's a grand kite, we have Uranus opposing Vesta. So there's those conflicts that could be between our inner commitments, our careers, our relationship, things that we feel like we are devoted to, that have kept us going. Or maybe there could be an obsession that we could really start diving deep into. Could be a good obsession, diving deep into just a whole nother world, whatever that may look like, because we do have Vesta in Scorpio. So that's really getting deep. So hopefully that depth is something that can really help you in the long run. This could be something that really just shakes you off your feet. Uranus in there just likes to kind of pull the rug out from under you, but could be doing that in a good way. Like something bad could happen, but it could be good for the most part. It's just something that's going to just kind of be that strike that's going to, okay, this got to happen. Sextiles are more those subtle little pushes, and they're little opportunities that can lead to something bigger. So look for those little opportunities that can actually help to boost that dream of yours into becoming a reality. Lastly, we have Venus in Aries that is sextile to Jupiter and Gemini. So do what you love, push those boundaries, and that's another sextile. So when you see beauty somewhere, when you see something that just makes you feel happy, that makes you just like well up inside, have that Jupiter just, let you go with it. Just go with it and just, you know, take it all in. So do something that makes you happy. Do something new and exciting, but always do what you've always dreamed about. And if that's your passion, and if that's your lust, and if that's where you think you are destined to be, now is the time to make that happen. So this is our new moon coming up, you guys. Use it to your advantage. So please like and subscribe and let me know what you think your destiny is and what little pushes you might find. So let's do this together. Hit that notification bell. Mars or Mars. March is jam packed full of stuff. We got lots of fun videos coming up, so you don't want to miss out. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.